Can you think of anything that happened in your life that at the time it happened, you thought this is terrible? But you can now look back upon it and say, gee, that was actually pretty good. So if something happened to you in the past that at the time it happened, you thought was terrible, but you can now look back and say it was actually pretty good, why are you in a hurry to label anything that happens now bad? Is there any possible way in which in X years it could turn out to be pretty good? Just pausing to consider that question will take you to a different emotional domain. And if you then take the next step and say, is there anything I can do to make that happen? You move into a realm of possibility, and courses of action will open up to you that you never would have considered before. We, from a very young age, have been taught to set goals. And parents, teachers, coaches all told us, set a goal for yourself and then come up with a plan of action to achieve your goal. All of the companies I work with have goals. In fact, most of the companies I work with no longer have goals, they have stretch goals. So we tend to live our lives in the following fashion. I set a goal for myself, I succeeded, life's a blast. I set a goal for myself, I failed, life sucks. We live in a sinusoidal curve oscillating between elation and despair, and we spend altogether too much time at the despair end of the spectrum. It's a terrible way to live. There is an alternative, and the alternative is the following: forget about the goal. Goals are important, but they are only important because they set direction. Once the direction has been set, forget about the goals. Don't even think about them. Instead, pour all of your emotional energy into what do I have to accomplish? What do I have to do in order to achieve my goal? And pour your emotional energy into that. When you do that, two things happen. You actually start enjoying the journey. The journey is the only thing we have. The destination is a mirage. You get there and then you're off someplace else. People want to climb Mount Everest. How much time do you spend on top of Mount Everest? A few minutes to a half hour at most. You climb up there, your buddy takes a picture of you, your buddy gets up there, you take a picture of him, and then you're on your way down, and you hope you don't get killed in an avalanche. So if you're going to climb Mount Everest, you better enjoy the weeks and months of acclimatization on Base Camp 1, Base Camp 2, and onwards. The journey is the only thing you have, and when you invest in the process, not the outcome, you enjoy the journey. And paradoxically, the more you are detached from the outcome, the higher the probability that you will actually reach the goal you wanted. And if you reach the goal, wonderful. If you do not reach the goal, wonderful. The mistake that all of us make, that all of us buy into, is that the benefit of this approach is then we will reach our goal. The reason we try very hard is so that we can reach our goals, and if we don't succeed, we screwed up, it's terrible. False. Remember what I said earlier, you do not have control over the outcome. You never had control, you never will have control. The benefit of this approach is the advantage for you, the benefit you get is the growth that happens when you try your best to achieve the goal that you set for yourself. Whether or not you reach it really doesn't matter. You have already benefited from the growth that occurs in you as you go. That is what we miss out. It's not about achieving the goal. It's about how you develop as a person and grow as you try your level best. And you do that by investing in the process, not the outcome. Einstein said the most important decision you'll ever make is the universe friendly? Most of us believe that the universe is indifferent to us. It doesn't know we exist and couldn't care less. Some of the times it seems to be working for us. Some of the times it seems to be working against us. Some of the times it's actively working against us. So if we are driving and we're late for an appointment, it will arrange for a traffic jam and for our air conditioning to break down. But what if that wasn't true? What if the universe was actually benevolent? What if it not only knew you existed, but was well disposed towards you? Now, friends don't shaft friends, do they? No. So if it was a benevolent universe, it actively gives you exactly what you need for your growth. It may not be what you want, but it is exactly what you need. Just as if you're a small child, what you want is a tub of ice cream, and what your parents give you are fruits and vegetables. You don't want fruits and vegetables, you want ice cream. And it's only when you have a much greater maturity and understanding that you can say, thank God I got fruits and vegetables and not ice cream. What if the universe was like that? It gives you stuff, it's not what you wanted. You want to get promoted, you get a pink slip. But maybe what if this was exactly what you needed at this stage? Regardless of whether or not the universe is benevolent, if you believe the universe was benevolent, your life would improve dramatically. Now, just because you recognize that a model is intellectually superior doesn't necessarily mean that you can adopt it, but you can work towards it. And one of the quickest ways to find out if the universe is benevolent or not is look for evidence that it is. And the more you look, the more you will find. And eventually you will come to the point where you will tip over. And you will believe the universe is benevolent. And when you do that, you'll be living in a completely different emotional domain. So there was a young man who was growing up to take his place among the adults of the tribe. And the final rite of passage was a conversation with the medicine man. And the medicine man told him, here is this dog, loving, trustworthy, kind, intelligent. And here is this wolf, malevolent, vicious, cruel, ready to strike at anything. And the dog and the wolf are fighting. And the dog and the wolf are both inside you. And the brave asks, which one will win? And the medicine man says, whichever one you feed. Now think about that. This has a powerful lesson for us. Inside each one of us is an altruistic, let me help my fellow man and do what I can to make the world a better place. And inside each one of us are, let me grab everything I can for myself, and the devil take the hindmost impulses, and the two are always at war with each other. It is your job to selectively identify and feed the dog in you. Don't make the mistake of thinking you're only going to feed the dog. That ain't going to happen. The best you can hope for is that you'll feed the dog a little bit more than you feed the wolf. But when you do that and the dog becomes stronger, it's also your job to selectively identify and feed the dog in everybody you run into. And when the dog in you becomes friends with the dog in the other person, magic happens in your life and in the world.